Pep, not what you were looking for, of course. What did you make of the game and the way it panned out?
Tight game, but in general we play really good. We missed our chance in the last minutes, the first half of the penalty, and there's a top side, and when we were playing better and we were in a good position, we conceded a goal. After we suffered that 10-15 minutes, we react well, and at the end they scored.
What did you make of Sergio's decision to try the Panenka?
It's his decision.
But obviously it carries risk with it, but do you accept that because it's his decision?
The taker had to take decisions. Always I said to him, take one decision and take it full convinced. So he decided to do this way. Nothing to add.
Second half, how do you think Chelsea got back into the game?
When they score, we didn't make a movement in behind. Rodri lose the ball, make a counter-attack, and we defend bad the blocking because we turn, we have to stand up. And see good quality. And after they play good 10-15 minutes, when Gundogan and Phil came in, we come back in the game. And the last minutes was really good. A little bit up and down, but really good. And at the end, they scored.
We could see you were furious about the non-penalty given, the tackle between Kurt Zouma on Raheem Sterling. What are your thoughts on why it wasn't given?
It's penalty.
What's your biggest disappointment? The fact that it wasn't given, it wasn't overturned as a clear and obvious, or the fact that the referee wasn't asked to go and look at it?
It's penalty, that's all. So it's penalty, that's all. So it's happened. So football has happened. So try the next time to score our penalty, and that's all. So the opinion for official and Anthony, they know it, and that's all. That's all I can say. So sometimes we make mistakes, and maybe they believe they don't make a mistake. It's okay. I saw it in the TV. It's penalty. That's all. So 88 minutes. So, and after you have to score, of course. But what can I say? So it's nothing. So 21 days. We're going to face them again in the final of the Champions League. We're going to learn from that, and now to try to to win the 3 points you need to be champion.
Yeah, City and Chelsea again in the Champions League final. Can Chelsea be the same team 3 times in one season? I think it's fair to say he's adamant that it was a penalty. What did you make of his answer on Sergio Aguero's style of penalty?
Oh, I think it was more revealing the action when it happened, and he was sort of threw his hands away. I don't think the words, once you've got time to calm down, I think the words, you're never going to throw your players under a bus then. But his natural reaction was to say, nah, don't like that. And nobody does really. I mean, listen, the thing is, we're all good after the event. If he dinks it and it goes in, we're all saying, oh, look at the courage of him, look how clever it is, look at the bravery, But I don't think deep down many people like it. I don't think they think it's the right way. If you had a penalty in the World Cup final to win, and you did that, I mean, well, I don't think anyone would they? Surely. I mean, it's just not the right way to do it.
No chance. I think, especially the fans, if it was the World Cup final, you would definitely know about it. So for me, I'm not for it at all.
It's funny, they say a week is a long time in football. Last week, when Sergio Aguero was put back in the starting lineup at Crystal Palace and scored this goal that you were alluding to earlier, and then you saw the reaction of Pep Guardiola afterwards, doffing his cap to him.
Yeah. Oh, that was a stunning goal.
It's a stark contrast to that.
Yeah, to come back into the team and take a touch like that and a finish like that. You think, wow, he's back, his confidence is back, and look at that. I mean, his reaction is brilliant, isn't it? Take your cap off. It's and then the reaction was a stark difference today. Not because of the quality of it, as I mentioned before, it's just the decision to take a penalty like that. If you're 3-0 up and you've won the game already, then I don't mind people showboating a little bit, but that's a huge point in the game, the turning point in the game. Even Thomas Tuchel said it. So I think it's just not the right thing to do. But, hey, people do it, and we'll sometimes give them all the credit when it goes in.
So, in your heart of hearts, do you think City have to play again to win this league, or in the next 2 games, could United slip up and clinch it for them?
Personally, yeah, I think they would have to play again. I think the way Man United have been playing, even if they played badly, they've still managed to get the results they need. So I think it's better City just focus on their next game that they have to win rather than Man United losing their 2 games or drawing 1 and losing 1.
So tomorrow we'll watch to see if Aston Villa can beat Manchester United and clinch the league for City.
Yeah, we will. I still think that United will get a draw or a win to continue the wait for Manchester City. I thought they'd have to wait today, as we said before the game. I didn't quite fancy. Do you know what? I think Man City are the best team, probably the best club team in the world at the moment. The best team in Europe, I think. But the problem is, sometimes you meet teams that are just very, very difficult and they just don't suit you. And I think this Chelsea team are the most difficult team to play against at the moment. Player for player, I'd have City all day long. In terms of watching them, I think they play a much better brand of football. I think they're fantastic. But sometimes there's a fly in the ointment. One team can just not suit you. And if I was Pep Guardiola, I'd be, give me anyone in the Champions League final, bar Chelsea. His worst fears have just come to light.
Raheem, because of the way the game panned out, is it just a feeling very flat?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to take, especially, you know, we had chances to finish the game off, and, you know, we didn't finish off and we got punished, simple as that.
What's your view on the penalty appeal on you right at the end from Kurt Zouma?
Well, for me, I couldn't get a shot off because he's put his knee in like the back of my hamstring. I don't know how it's not a penalty. I don't know how it's not been reviewed properly. The ref said it's been reviewed, but at the end of the day, personally, I knew it was a penalty. But you know, I thought the VAR was here to help, but it wasn't meant to be.
Do you feel the referee should have been advised to go and have a look at it?
Oh, he said to me that, you know, it's been checked and it's been cleared. It's not a penalty, but for me, it was a short penalty.
For City and for yourself, the day had started well. You hadn't scored for a while. Back on the score sheet today.
Yeah, it was good to get on the score sheet, and you know, I thought it was going to be the day that we get over the line. And as I said, we didn't finish our chances, and against a team like Chelsea, with the players they have, they'll punish you.
There looks to be a bit of a discussion with Sergio Aguero. Was he okay with you taking the chance?
Was he okay? Listen, I was just in the box to make sure anything that comes my way, and you know, it was a bad first touch, and I tried to get a front off Reece, and I did so. It went in the back of the net, so that's the most important thing.
What would it be like for you now, sitting back and watching Manchester United?
Yeah, I don't think I'll personally want to watch that game. You know, I like to have some family time and look at the results and check on the latest scoreline. But to watch the game, it's a difficult one, so I'll try to chill.
OK, and a reminder of that scenario, Aston Villa have to win on Sunday for City to be crowned champion. So that was a big moment. And then Chelsea went one better right at the end with Alonso.
Yeah, they did. I mean, there was a little bit of fortune in the finish, but again, as Sean was mentioning all day, really, this right-hand side of the back three was where all the danger was coming. A nice cutback, and as I say, a missed kick. It actually probably ended up coming off his good foot, but it started off with his right foot onto his left. You know, and this is the areas we spoke about. These, you know, especially Werner, who Tuchel referred to, making these runs and making the defenders chase him really all day, and there might have been a bit of fatigue in the legs, but, you know, a full-back getting into the box, you know, that stage of the game, you've got to take your hat off to him, and it was a bit lucky, but maybe they deserved it in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I have to be on the same page as Mo there. They exploited the spaces that were spoken about throughout the game, and I think you make your own luck in football, and Chelsea worked hard enough in that half to make that bit of luck.
So, you feel City should have had a penalty in the second half. They did in the first. Any doubt that it should have been a penalty for you?
I think they're both penalties, but like Mo said in the first half, I can understand what Mo said when this penalty happened the way he stepped 2 yards away from the ball, but I can see what Jesus was trying to do. He's tried to drag it across to his left foot, but the ball doesn't go. So then he just tries to get a foot contact on the ball, but he gets clipped from behind. Michael?
Yeah, no, I don't think that you can say, right, I'm touching the ball and now all these, you know, I've got 3 yards, a circumference of 3 yards to jump all around and not get touched. I mean, if he's running towards the ball and you impede him, then fine. But I don't think you can jump 2 yards outside of the line of the ball and then claim legs being tangled. I didn't think it was a pen.
OK. Dermot, did you think that was a pen?
I did. I thought both of them were penalties, Steve.
Yes, go on, Dermot.
I just think in the modern game, if anybody plays a ball like that, they don't take the ball, they take the man. Penalties can be given. We've seen it 35 weeks now, Steve. So when I see that, my instant reaction was penalty.
I'm not denying there's a touch, of course. I can see tangle of legs. But what about my point in terms of he's jumping 2 yards outside the line of the ball? How can Gilmour get out the way if he's going to do that? I mean, how long's a piece of string now? We're going to... Do you know what I mean? It's...
I feel your pain, Michael, but as I said, 35 weeks been watching. Now we've seen penalties given all season that when I was refereeing they wouldn't have been given, but the tolerance level has changed, and I think that's a typical example of why. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we saw one for Maitland-Niles that when I was a schoolboy playing football I wouldn't have dreamt of a penalty, but in the modern game it is.
So just to confirm, Dom, you think you can go that far out of the line of the ball? You can, like, jump outside the line of the ball into somebody else and still get a penalty?
I think the referee looking at that will look at the challenge between the two players. The ball's within playing distance, and therefore, because the clash is in the penalty area, he will give a foul or give a penalty. I think that's what's happened. As I say, it's happened all season. I think going back to your playing days, Dermot's turned his back and run away down into the other half now. He swatted you away, Mike.
He has. Yeah. I'll shut up then.
Yeah. Dermot, thank you very much indeed. Right, Sergio Aguero. What a huge moment in the day this was for the man. Can you have any psyche in the taking of this penalty?
I don't get it. Most seems to think it was the perfect way that he took it for that sort of penalty. For me, I just think the decision in general is wrong from Sergio to be in the position that he's in. Like I said, to equal a record, to put City 2-0 up, and possibly to close the fact on winning a title. I just think it was totally a bad decision that he made, and Pep's reaction, it told it all, and that's how I would have been if I was the manager as well.
So and that's who I would have been as well.
Yeah, but just describe this perfect penalty analogy again for us, please.
Hang on, right. What I'm saying, I took penalties. I never once took a penalty like that. I don't believe in it. I don't like it. It's not my penalty.
Right.
But if you're going to do that, which he decided to do, what I'm saying is he actually executed it perfectly well. The height of it, the pace of it, the little dink. Of course he didn't score because it was a bad decision, but it's not because of the execution of what he was trying to do. That's what I'm saying. Right. He actually hit it perfectly. You know, if you're trying to go down the middle, you either smack it or you dink it. And when you dink it, you're only hitting it softly, so the goalkeeper dives and his feet are out the way, it goes over them. So for what he was trying to do, he executed it perfectly. It's never been my style, don't like it. But as I say, the perfect penalty was, for what he was trying to do, it was perfect.
You accepting that?
I can accept it. I just feel like if he's going to take that sort of penalty, he has to have more disguise in his body. I think he runs up way too slow.
So it's not perfect then?
Yeah, exactly my point. There you go.
No, that's a good argument. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
I thought maybe a bit more disguise. Yeah. But it was a perfect...
Well, I'll tell you something. They can't get this job done over the line. They're going to win it, but we keep preparing for these City parties, and it doesn't happen.
It just seems that way. I was celebrating at 1-0, and especially after they got the penalty. You heard me, but Chelsea were unbelievable. You have to give them their resilience. They've gone away to City, as we know, have a great squad, always keep possession of the ball. And they stuck out the task that Tuchel gave them, played the same way, stayed in the game. And Reece James just, for me, destroyed Mendy the whole game, inside, outside. And he just got better and better in the second half and putting those deadly balls in. And they always say if you keep knocking on the door, at some point it will open. And it opened twice today.
How significant is this for Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel on the back of a huge win and performance that took it out of him against Real Madrid that you saw live on Wednesday, to change half of his outfield players, then have another game coming up and then have an FA Cup kind of loom, to go to the Etihad and do that today?
That's been a massive week. The thing is, he can change players, but they just slot into this formation that they're all used to, that Thomas Tuchel likes. Whereas Manchester City, they change their team today and they change their formation. And not many teams can be equally as dominant playing two different systems. They're very, very different to play. But, as I say, Chelsea... The show goes on. They just keep rolling on, and no matter who they play, they have got a staggeringly strong squad, both of these teams, to be fair. And when everybody knows their jobs and it's just a matter of pulling one player out, putting them back in, it makes it so much easier to manage. But full credit to Tuchel. He's doing a phenomenal job.
But that certainly changed. The views of Sean Wright-Phillips and Michael Owen on their way, because we are halfway to a blue Manchester party and the ribbons changing from red to blue. That is because they have one goal, of course, from Raheem Sterling, and then, of course, Sergio Aguero with the opportunity to add to that, which he couldn't take. Raheem Sterling's goal, the all-important one at half-time at the moment at the Etihad, and Sean Wright-Phillips is halfway to his Manchester City Premier League title-winning party. Although, for the large parts of that first half, you were half asleep.
Yeah, for me, it was a bad game. Let's be honest. I was expecting a lot more from both teams. I think especially in the systems and the way they had set up, there was spaces to be exploited, and it was only until the end of the half where it really got exploited and got used to an advantage, where obviously City scored. But I think if anybody was trying to exploit that space, as Michael said, it was Chelsea, that they just wasn't good in the space when they got there.
And it was an error in the end that led to City's goal.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was Chelsea that were running into these channels, and in particular Werner, exploiting that space on the outside of the back three. And then, quite ironically, it's Manchester City that flip it and do what Chelsea have been doing to them. Christensen makes a bad mistake, and eventually Jesus squares it. Poor touch from Aguero. But you just see here, I highlight Rudiger. He vacates this space, and that's where Jesus, his eyes light up. That's the space that you want him to run into. Down the channels, and Christensen doesn't have to be so aggressive here. He actually injures himself as well. Poor touch from Aguero. We spoke about him being right in the mix. Even though he hadn't played for a while, his touch was poor, and we go on to see another poor chance that he misses, obviously from the penalty spot, but Raheem Sterling there to tidy things up.
Yeah, gone 12 games without a goal. Hasn't all been going his way recently, but it's his strike that's the all-important one at the moment, Raheem Sterling.
I think that's what he needed. I think, like you said, that things ain't been going his way. He seems, when you watch him play, low in confidence. And me as a player, I've been there. Sometimes when you're low in confidence, you kind of have to go back to basics. So in the game, you've seen him overpass the ball sometimes, and then he's dribbling, his touch takes it away from him. So it's hopefully that goal that he's got will lift his confidence.
So it is 1-0 City. It could have been 2-0. The awarding of a penalty just before half-time has caused a little bit of discussion here in the studio. Michael, your take first.
Not a penalty for me. I think it's, again, in that type of area behind Rudiger. That's where it starts off down this wide side, and then the ball gets cut across, and there's no question that there's a tangling of legs, but when we see it on the other angle, on the final angle, there's the tangling of legs that you quite clearly see, and I do accept there's contact. But if you look at the ball, you've got to be running towards that line of ball. He actually jumps across Gilmour's line. I mean, he dives a yard or two away from the ball and then tangles legs. Well, hang on a minute. Gilmour can't move. He's not sticking his leg out, and I think he's actually run across Gilmour's line, and then the legs are tangled.
Sean Wright-Phillips?
For me, a penalty. My reasons being is because I think what Jesus has tried to do, when he's taken that touch with his right foot, he's tried to drag the ball onto his left foot, so he has that chance. The ball doesn't go far enough, so he tries to stop, and in stopping, he stops in front of Gilmour, which is when the legs tangles come. But from Mo's point of view, he has a valid point.
Yeah, I think if he's running towards goal and he takes the touch, tangle legs, I think it's a penalty. But I don't think you can dive out of the line of the ball that far and then say, oh, legs are tangled, penalty. I don't think it's a penalty.
Talk me through Sergio Aguero's penalty, Sean.
I'm personally raging, to be honest with you. I don't know, he's in a position where he can tie for the record of most goals for one team. Why would you try and chip the ball? Like, for me, I think Pep will be raging, as we're going to see at some point, but I would have lost it personally, and I think he will be upset with himself as well.
As these penalties go, we've seen them go in, and we see Pep's reaction. He's not happy with it, and it always looks awful when it doesn't come off. When you actually see the technique of it, the pace of it, and where the ball goes, it's actually the perfect penalty. If you ask Aguero where this ball wants to go, what he's thinking of doing, dinking the goalkeeper,
it's a perfect penalty.
But what he's not tried to hit it in the corner, has he? He's tried to do exactly what he's done, and he's actually done it perfectly. It's only that the goalkeeper's not dived. The dink, the pace of it, where it's going, it's about a metre under the goal. Absolutely, that's perfect for what he's trying to do. The big question
I don't
trying
think
to
so.
dink the goalkeeper.
Yeah, but
we've seen it loads of times.
But you can't. If this perfect pace, how does Mendy have time to go down on one knee and then come back up and go like that with one hand?
Himself, does he? He doesn't. what I'm saying is, for what he's tried to do, he's actually done it perfectly. He's tried to dink the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
and it's gone.
Yeah, it's wrong.
It's just a wrong decision if you're
okay.
going to But the actual technique and where he's tried to do it, perfect.
Chaps, I would love to continue this. You can do in a moment, because otherwise we'll miss the second half. Because City are halfway.